Welcome to my show. Welcome to my channel. This is the Hermetic Earth School, the Hermetic Lab. I'm going to break down a little bit of some maps here. A lot of people are confused of what's going on today. A lot of people have, there's a lot of conspiracies, there's a lot of spiritual information out there, but people aren't able to put their finger on it. Because they've been taken away spiritually from Mother Earth, and Mother Earth has been taken away from them, with all the cataclysms and all the events that have taken place over eons, and the people today being born into a reality of confusion and not understanding the spiritual truth of Mother Earth and where everything lies. So we have a map here, and we can see a lot of people talk on ley lines and pressure points and sacred geometry and Atlantis and Lemuria and as above, so below. But when it comes to what is hidden spiritually, people can't comprehend, even if it's told to them. So you're looking here at a map with pressure points, and there's the as above, so below, and people know of the Serpent Mound. They know of all the mounds, road traveled from Atlantis to Lemuria. It's spiritual stuff that is within one's consciousness, of if they know the inner coordinates of spirit. And that's the part of where people don't remember ancient history within the sacred water, because the sacred water was distorted, and false imprints have been put into people to believe one thing over another. And so if the elders were killed, the ancestors were killed, First Nation, Mayans, everybody, there's a lot of spilt blood on the land. And that's one of the reasons why people aren't able to see if it's First Nation people, the darker tribes, or if it's the lighter tribes. Really there's not many left who from the ancients who have the original script of the blueprints and the sacred symbols, because within the rainbow prophecy of Turtle Island, we've been talking about it for a long time, about the rainbow prophecy and the Hopi prophecy, but the people in the collective aren't able to understand how a rainbow was created, and that's God's kingdom. So it's the same as being locked out of Buddha's kingdom. People don't know what the spiritual truth is. So you're looking at these pressure points, and people are looking at Chicago today and the situation, and then you're looking to the east, New York, and the general area. Everything from ancient history, biblical times, Egypt, and the fallen realms, we'll say, have to pass through the Northeast. As above, so below. People look up and outside of themselves when it comes to galactic stuff, when it comes to aliens, and when it comes to this 3-eye atlas, where people don't understand what is truly as above, so below, because we're in the upside down realm. And that's just talk, because people are living in their heads and looking outside of themselves, being spiritually hijacked, even if they think that they're not. They're stuck in between realms of heaven and hell, not sure of how to access the higher realms, because there's only a certain level that people can access due to their consciousness, because they don't know what was here, what timeline we're on, and so forth. And so, if you're looking at Atlantis and the East Coast, and what happened there, there's a lot of fairy tales. No one really has an image. It's where the darkness started. But the traveling from the past into the future, is what we're doing. We need to rid Mother Earth of the situation, because the situation at hand, like if you're looking in Chicago and you're looking in New York and you're looking certain places, it's a battle at the temple door. Especially you're looking here at the East Coast, the Serpent Mound and everything from South America and Mexico, the temples. No one has a clue, because of the flood, mud flood, all this stuff, and everyone that was sacrificed on this land, and alien invasions, and whatever people want to think, and demonic, and but it's just they have been attempting to try and come over the threshold for years, because their energy comes out of the underworld, and the underworld is nothing bad. It's just that it's where the mama's belly is at in the spiritual sense. So if you're looking at your chakras in the underworld, and the confusion in trying to get out of Egypt, Mount Zion, it's the same storyline, but it's a consciousness thing. Just understanding the truth of what is around you, and what is taking place today. And so you're seeing all these lines that travel east to west, and they go and they cross Turtle Island, and they go out. There's so much history, so much stuff embedded within the land that people aren't able to see and understand. They think of Jesus and medieval times, everything being across the pond, but they're not able to see the truth of where the people traveled over hundreds of years leading up to the situation today, and the advancement in technology through the beast system and the AI system, because they have been embedded, and they've created their AI system to be implanted, so they can implant themselves within it, because they've been removed from Mother Earth. But we have the situation on the ground within the cities of chaos and rage and jealousy, and Chicago was burnt once before. Philly is burnt. San Francisco is burnt. There's been all the suppression over generations, and people are spiritually enslaved, and not knowing it. So we have pressure points, and we have stuff that comes out of the underworld that must be released, and we have the earthquakes and everything, and planetary shifts and magnetic pole shifting. So we're going to show you another map here, and so we have this map here, and I've done other videos on it, but it's you have things on here that you have many timelines on one map, and they talk about the Pleiadians being mapped out on Turtle Island. There's a lot of stuff that people can't comprehend. People talk on the Blue Kachina, and they talk about the Four Corners. No one talks about Bermuda anymore. But you can see the Acadian line and the separation of east to west, and truly what the Northeast reflects when it comes to the temple. There's Mississippi being the Nile River, and going up above into Canada and so forth, and people don't understand the Hyperborealis and why they did what they did, and building cities and destroying stuff, and building dams and rearranging and manipulating the water. And so, I did some spiritual work up here, and I understand, up in the Northeast of what everything is. You can look at these lines, Acadian line, Blue Kachina, Native American, the Dragon line. So you're wondering where the crossroads are. And that's a lot of, when you see the Native American line that travels from east to west, New England and Maine and everything, Greenland, and, you're going all the way out there. But there, you see, there's a path. There's a path from the east to the west, and you see the arrow that points to the west. And so you're looking at the crossroads. Where does the sun rise? People say the sun comes out of the east, it rises out of the east. But how is that possible if the sun comes from below? So the sun is actually coming from below, but in the east. See, this is the manipulation. So if you're turning Mother Earth a little bit within the magnetic poles, you're lifting her up. And so the traveling from Atlantis to Lemuria is in New England, is Maine, is, this path, as you see here. Because if the sun rises in the east, who's the first tribe to see the sun? The first tribe which sees the sun is the first tribe of creation today. It's the same thing. It's the first Israelites out of the water. People don't understand. People want to ascend, but they have no consciousness of the people. They have no consciousness of themselves. They look at everything outside. They have no map. They don't understand frequencies and sacred geometry and numerology and basic symbolism, because they've never studied it. And the symbols, the sun, cross, and medicine wheel, and everything like that has been hijacked. Your animals were hijacked. Your Maya's calendar was hijacked. So where is the entrance into the calendar? Where is the entrance into the temple? Where is the entrance into the Lemuria? People think that they're going galactic, but there's a cutoff point. There's only a certain level where people can reach. There's only a certain level. You can come into the Christ consciousness, but you won't be able to understand it in your mind, because no one's allowed over the threshold. It's a spiritual path. It's an inner journey through the Hermetic teachings of realchemizing the DNA in your chakras and allowing the water and the fire to return back into you, and remembering your circle. Because even the feminine lost their circle. They have no idea where they're at, because they are sacrificed over many timelines. And the confusion and the satanic technology is running amok today. The demons are running the streets. It's all about their fruit. It's all about what is going on within the spirit of humanity and creation. But so many ignore the situation. So many don't want to look at it. So many don't understand their emotions and the truth of Turtle Island, Mother Earth, Gaia. No one understands Gaia because they're not able to put the pieces together of ancient history into today, because their water was polluted. The water went away. The water, fresh water, turned into aborted water, and the separation took place. So you're seeing these symbols, you're seeing these lines, you're seeing all of this stuff. The blue kachina, but the mind and the Native American line, traveling east to west. The sun comes out of the east. Who's the first tribe to see the sun? That'd be the belly of the beast. That is within the temple. That's within God's house. That's within the circle. And all the symbolism that has been taken back. The totem pole. Have we forgotten about the Native American First Nation totem pole? Because they used to have one. Every tribe had a totem pole. It's a reflection of what is within. It's a reflection of the Divine Mother and all the zodiacal animals that have come back together with the wheels of the chariot. 2 wheels, symbolism. The infinity, 8. Yeah, see? It's 2 wheels. And there's 2 wheels that have animals on it. You have the American wheel, the American zodiac wheel, and then you have the Asian. So this is where the cutoff is when it comes to people who say that they are ascending or that they have dragons. They don't have dragons because you're not a Naga. The Naga is initiation back into the house, the Naga house, the Nagis. It's magic because people don't even understand what Maga is. Magi, Magi, NagiNaga, Naga, Nagi, Magi, Maga. Your letters are confusing. People don't understand their letters are interchangeable. So if you're ascending back into the higher realm, you have to shut up. You have to stop speaking. You have to remember and acknowledge that you have no spiritual knowledge because your ancestors were killed. The elders were killed. There was nobody here to hand you down any spiritual wisdom. All you got to do is look at the First Nation. All you got to do is look at Africa. Look where they have gone. Look where they have taken humanity, society. So people questioning what's going on in America. They're doing the same thing today in America, what they did to the First Nation and what they did to Africa and all these other countries. They've gone in and invaded them and took them down into a lower consciousness, into a fear-based society of suffering and starving and raping and pillaging and, all this good stuff that's been going on for eons. So them doing what they're doing in this demonic AI alien-based society today, of them, bringing people in, a lot of people still doing the 9 to 5 and There's no consciousness. There's no curiosity. There's no wanting to know. It's very confusing. People been conditioned to live the limelight. Go out to dinner and watch movies, go to work, pay bills, and now you have half the country, which is third world, and civil war breaking out, and a lot of people still ignoring it because they may have money, but then their neighbor doesn't. A lot of people going into these cities to go watch sporting events and ignoring what's going on around them. Everything's going to be exposed because it's going to burn. You see what's happening. We've been invaded. America's been invaded. This is the reflection of the Mayan times, the reflection of what took place hundreds of years ago, and what's happened, many and many times over and over again. But there's so much information today of what's going on. Everyone with this Charlie thing, but no one can see the spiritual significance of the situation as a whole. And then when one situation happens, it dies down, and then another situation happens. And there's so many situations today where people don't, there's things that people don't even see, things that people don't even know about. And, it can be the next town over, next state over, let alone, across the country. People don't pay attention. The news isn't going to tell you what the truth is. They're doing the same thing that they've been doing for years. They're lying, manipulating, but the people are, pretty conscious, pretty aware. The technology, the internet, being able to get information through the web, and if it's ancient history, the truth of ancient history, the truth of America, the truth of what's been going on behind the curtain, it's all out there. It's not hidden. It's just they're trying to manipulate the people through the TV still. And, them regurgitating the same stories of, just lying ever since, killing Kennedy and everything. It's a fairy tale. It's false life, American dream, stealing people's money, stealing the farm, polluting everything and everyone. Taking people down into a lower consciousness. But the people think that they're awake because they're working. And they say, oh, I'm not possessed. But you're not understanding where God is, where Creator is, where Great Spirit is, where the unity is. And people refusing to step into the unity of what is. And, I've seen a lot of people go different directions over these years since Ascension started, but everyone's just stuck in the Reiki era, thinking that they're, still a light worker, but it's passing through what took place in ancient history. We're going to go back into the tree, going to be lifted up. We got to go past certain frequencies. We got to go past certain situations, and the people in America taking the Christian road, which is, part of a frequency that the Americans have to, because you still have the biblical stuff being played out. You look over in Israel, and, it's all the end of days with the AC and, false peace and stuff like that. But when it comes to the end of days, time-wise, it's passing. People need to, you can't say you're Christian or you're Jewish in America and not have anything of ancient history or have anything of the biblical times reflect to you. Everything that's going on across the pond reflects back to the people in America. But that's the part where Americans don't have a clue because they've been shut off, and everything that has happened before they were born doesn't come into their consciousness. The frequencies of what took place when Jesus was here and what took place, after Jesus died. People believe in Jesus, but they don't have the frequency of him, because you have to spiritually die. You either physically die or you spiritually die. But that's what ascension is. It's dying spiritually with passing through the gate of death. It's a feeling, it's a frequency, it's that view, outer view, you know, of history repeating itself. But people can't connect the dots. The whole thing with Charlie and everything. You have the Mormon situation, and you get into the Mormons and the reflection of what that holds, being the Pleiadians and Orion, and one man marrying seven. It's a reflection of the Pleiadians and the Moron Church. And it's not a coincidence that it happened in Judahville in Utah, because Utah reflecting Judah in Mount Zion can't really deny it, but it's just the people don't, they can't see the frequencies. When you get into Northern California and you look up into Seattle, of what's going up there in Portland and what they've done in Seattle. Because once upon a time, there was a frequency that came in the 60s and 70s, a rainbow, which people, became enlightened and didn't want no more war, no more government, and they attempted to get away because the rainbow came in, the frequencies, and everybody went to India and came back to America, hippie movement, but it was hijacked after 3 years. And so the hijacking of the rainbow and everything like that took place. And so today, this is the extension of the rainbow and who we are, because what happened in the 90s, when you talk about demonic presence and stuff like that, there was a situation in 97, I think it was, which flipped everything upside down, of where some demons came through some portholes, and some demons came through some portholes in LA and in the Congo, and it flipped the script. If you look into the music industry and you look at what happened with hip hop, and you look what happened with the rock industry, you look on both sides of the coast, because you had organic hip hop on the East Coast, and then on the West Coast you had like Sublime and organic dub, ska, a mix of rock, rap, and reggae, of a blending of unity through the music. But the people, we could have overtaken everything, spiritually, to continue on the rainbow prophecy train before we really even knew what it was. But the darkness came in and corrupted the music scene, because You're looking at today when this turning point stuff, and everything is Christian. It's not, it's Christianized where everybody is mainly white. A lot of people, yeah, Jesus and stuff. But everyone knows the Catholic Church and what the church did when it came to America. You have your pre-Christian, your true mother worshippers, spirit worshippers, white magic, nature, pagans, and that ran from the church, Mary and Jesus and the organic original tribes, and everyone that was here already, the native First Nation Israelites, and but it's just a lot of understanding, it's a lot of frequencies of transmutation, of understanding. So the repeating of history, Babylon burning, where who there's no there's no, this is the thing about Turning Point and this Christian rock stuff, and where these white people are taking the situation today, trying to get people back on the Christian horse, but we know what religion did, and we know a lot of people don't want to be Christian because it's reflecting organized religion, and that's the part where people aren't looking within the cities, that are not looking at the black and brown people and how they have been suffering for all these years, when the white people have been on this Christian, fake Christian train all these years, and not really paying attention to their brothers and sisters over these years. And you can see what has happened through the manipulation. And now you have all these people, white people, who want to be Christian and who think that they're ascending, who really don't have any black friends. They're not, I know a lot of white people who know more white people who think they're ascending, and they're pulling back the curtain on the beast by sharing information about what's going on in the 3D world. You should see what's happening in the spiritual world. That's where the truth is at. People don't know. They're confused. They don't know their nightmares. They don't understand why they're being chased around, why they sleep. But they ignore the energy, and then they just continue to do the 9 to 5. People are stuck outside of the Buddha's temple. That's just the truth. Because they don't understand what the within and without, as above, so below is. They don't have the spiritual knowledge and wisdom of anything. All they do is regurgitate galactic stuff, alien stuff, the same spiritual stuff that is on the surface. Singing bowls, tarot cards, mediums. There's no knowledge beyond a medium. And so when you're talking about planets, talking about DNA, because a lot of people are talking about this stuff also. When it comes to a consciousness level and your soul being lifted up, you can't be lifted up until you have consciousness, until you have wisdom of understanding that you're in the fallen realm of the masculine and the feminine. Look at it out there. All you gotta do is look, see what is going on within humanity, within the cities, within the breaking up of the families. So in the lower realms, all you have is your lower chakras. You don't have, see, the thing about your chakras and your DNA, It's a color. It's a rainbow. Colors are inflamed. How we put it? Colors are flames. Colors are frequencies. Colors are gases. Rainbow is a gas. Everything's gas. Okay. Everything has been taken back. Realchemizing the colors to get through back into God's house. You got to go through the purge. You got to understand, lift up your consciousness, because your vision, your two human eyes don't want to look, but are trying to open up your third eye. But it's, your chakras and the DNA patterns. People talk on it, but they don't have it. So have a good day.